Hey there, and welcome to the Fiihr Factor, the podcast that shines a light on real stories, smart strategies, and the occasional hard truth about running a business. Think of this as your quick dose of clarity before your first cup of coffee. Let's go. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Hadley Schafer. She's got this great company. It's called Holistic Meeting Strategies, HMS. Thanks for taking the time, Hadley.
Thanks for having me on, Warren.
Okay, so this is going to be super. You are welcome. So this is going to be super fun because you've had such kind of a varied background of experiences. I love talking to entrepreneurs that have just gone off and done something on their own. So let's start a little bit. This isn't the end by any stretch of the imagination, but the result of where you are now with your company. How'd you end up starting your company?
Kind of on a wish and by default. So I experienced my first layoff in over 2 decades in my industry in February of 24 and was in the rat race trying to find my corporate job as much as possible, stressing myself out. And unfortunately, I got sick. I had some just chronic pain that put me out for a few months. And when I came out of it, I had a couple of people reach out to me and they were like, hey, there were entrepreneurs. They're both women, both authors. And they both just happened to reach out to me at the same time saying, listen, I can't afford you full time because, I'm an entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
can you do some contract work for me? And I was like, okay, this sounds interesting. Well, the interesting thing about both of these women is one of them is a leadership expert on grit. And the other one was asking me to coordinate the Grit Awards. And I was like, okay, there's something around grit that
No kidding.
I think I need to step on this. Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
I went to Office Depot to buy myself a new extra monitor. And I turned to my husband and I was like, I think I want to try this. I want to go out on my own. And he said, I believe in you. Let's do it.
Nice.
So that's what I've been doing.
That's amazing. By the way, what a kind of a I mean, I don't really believe in coincidences. I think it's providence, but what a weird thing to
Yeah.
happen. Two people with the same sort. And by the way, what's grit stand for?
Oh, growth, resilience. There's
Intentionality and something else. No, I don't know. We'll
something
figure it
else.
out. I put you on the spot.
They all have different meanings. Like the person I worked for had her own description of it, and then somebody
Okay.
else had it. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah. So it's a
I
different
just used the
acronym.
grit part of grit.
Nice. Nice. Just the actual word grit, which
Uh-huh.
I like.
Yeah.
I think people that are gritty and scrappy and just keep grinding, there's something to be said for that, right? Like that whole
Really.
idea is real. And if you can hang around and have that mentality, you're the dog with the bone that's not going to let go. Agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the thing is that life is going to throw curveballs at you, and you've got to figure out if you're going to catch it or you're going to let it fly behind you. So I have caught it and I have dropped it and I have run after it and I've done all of those things.
Okay. So tell me, so you started this business, you had a couple deals right away. That's awesome. That gets you going.
Yeah.
How did you decide to scale it, or how did you kind of move forward from there?
One of the things that I think is the most underrated or unknown, but most invaluable things about being an entrepreneur is how many other entrepreneurs in this world will step up and say, how can I help?
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's one of the things that I've loved. And I have a lot of friends over the years who either have been entrepreneurs their entire career or, stepped out on their own at some point. And basically they just pulled me into the fold. And then having other friends who were in the corporate world that that supported me, that meant a lot. And them saying, you can do this. And also asking the hard questions, like those questions that you don't necessarily want to say them out loud because God forbid they come true or you don't have a plan of action, but you need somebody to say that. What if you fail at this? What if a client fires you? What
Yeah.
are you gonna do for your backup? What are you gonna do for expenses? Like just you look at life differently. I don't see my business as a scale, as in bringing on additional employees to partner with businesses that do things that I don't do. So I scale in the sense that like I'm not too big for my britches, you
Yeah.
know? I think you have to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. And those are the things that I don't know how to do. So why not turn to somebody and say, "Hey, let's partner on this project together. Can you handle this? And I'm going to take this part on."
Yeah. I think that's really good because the stuff we don't like to do, generally, we're not always very good at either, frankly. And so bringing in somebody to handle that, whether that's a partnership or you're hiring somebody or whatever that is, always a smart
Right.
way to be able to grow and keep your eyes on doing what you like, first of all,
Yeah.
and then doing what you're really, really good at.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing. So, and I think the other thing with business owners is everybody's got that level of comfort of growth where they want to go and what they want to be and what they want out of this business. And it doesn't have to be an international business or I don't need 100 employees. Some people want to do their thing and then sub everything out. Some people want to grow to a certain size, whatever that. There's no wrong answer, right?
Right. You know, I had a job years ago that I was so connected to my work that I couldn't see day from night. It was just like it was constantly, it was all I did. And I I am so committed in my life now to this work-life balance. As an entrepreneur, that's hard, but it's also really important to say, hey, these are the things that I'm really good at and that I love to do. And as a business owner and an entrepreneur, I'm going to do those things. And these are things that keep me grounded and keep me happy and keep me aligned with who I am. And I'm going to make sure that's just as important as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a you said that very well because it's a luxury, but it's also a necessity. Like part of the thing about working for yourself is if something goes wrong, there's nobody else to blame but you.
Nobody, nobody.
And that's good and bad, right?
You keep turning around, you're like, anybody want I'll fall on that sword again. Okay.
So the extreme ownership, I think, the thing I think that I say to people often is that it versus working for somebody, I've ran $100 million company. It's like, okay, so, but when you're running your own shop, the highs are higher and the lows are lower.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is,
Mhm.
but that feeling of like, if I want to work tonight till midnight, I can do that. And if I want to go play golf at 2, I can do that too. It's up to me and it's my business and I do what I want is pretty stinking cool, actually.
It is. It is. When I was in the corporate world, I would tell the people that I worked for and the people that worked for me, when I leave my desk, I'm confident with the stuff that I've left on it that I can come back to it tomorrow. I
Yep.
don't need to sign on again later. And it's difficult when you're an entrepreneur and when you work from home. You're like, your desk is always there. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like, these are the things that I need to accomplish today so that I can get sleep tonight.
Yes.
So I'm going to work and I'm going to get that done. And some days it's going to be, all nighters or working really late or whatever. And that's okay because it's not every day.
Yeah, and I think one thing that I just did this, we do this for all our clients. We do a quarterly planning event where we plan out our next quarter, the 6 things we want to accomplish, and then we put them in calendars by week. And that sounds simple, but it's actually boiling it down to 6 things is really actually kind of hard. And then putting those as tasks is hard. But then when you actually do that, you can actually do the things. And so I did this over my sort of break, Christmas to New Year's break, and that feeling of power when you have all that on your calendar and like if I do these things, this is going to be the outcome with some
Mhm.
predictability. And then staying diligent to that actually gives you more freedom to rest and to take time
Yeah.
off because like I did the things I needed to do to accomplish to be successful today.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So it's event planning. It says creating events that breathe. What does that mean?
So I have a former life as a yoga teacher, and I did that for about 10 years. So I have this holistic side of me, just like that part of me that I was telling you that is really important in the work-life balance is that I want to make sure when I am planning events for people that I'm helping to strategize and I am giving them something that they're saying, this is what I need out of this conference. This is what I need out of this event. And my job is to help strategize, how do we get there? And how do you rest easy at night knowing it's being done?
Mm, mm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think, yoga, yeah, I saw that on your certified yogi. I don't know. I can't remember what it said exactly, but you got game in the yoga space and you're legit.
Yep.
Talking about
Yep.
breathing, talking about breathing in yoga and then breathing in business. I think that's a nice parallel.
Yeah. It is. And it's something that when the world shut down 6 years ago, it became so important to me to bring that yogic breath into my everyday. You know, it's important when the messiness of life and work is making your brain just go a million miles an hour to take a breath, meaning literally pause, turn around, turn off the noise, and just take a few minutes, set a timer, and breathe in your plan for execution. So everything's going crazy, right? And you've got to get it done. And there's 37 things that are being asked for 15 minutes ago. And you're like, okay, I need to prioritize and figure out how I'm going to do this. And so that's my breath and work, and using the correlation of both.
Ah, so brilliant. Stopping, prioritizing, just stopping,
Mhm,
first of all.
mhm, mhm.
Pause.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
do
one of the
anything.
hardest things to do, but I'm
Yeah.
telling you, if you set a timer, because there's so many people that are like, I can't do it. I can't shut my mind down because there's so many things going on. And I'm like, just shut it off for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
For 2 minutes, you're gonna be okay, but like turn the notifications off, turn the do not disturb on, and just set a timer for 2 minutes so that you won't go over, and
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna be told when it's time to stop
Yes. Yeah. You can totally let go for 2 minutes.
for 2 minutes. Yeah.
Everybody's got 2 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Mhm.
So at some point you decided you're going to write a book.
Mm, I
What was the
did.
motivation behind that? And what was the experience like?
So I love to tell stories. I had a small stint in my life when I lived in New York City, where I tried stand-up comedy for a while.
Oh, you're kidding.
And yeah. And then when I stopped doing it, in person for audiences, I would blog. I was single for a long time, so I blogged about my single life. And then I moved to South America for a while, and I blogged about my experiences there. And, I had 14 really solid subscribers to my blog, so I knew I had something going here.
What's
And
advertising revenue from that?
yeah, exactly. It was actually Mother's Day of 2020. I had gone home to visit my parents, and we were giving each other air hugs, and life was weird. And I went home that night, and I just started thinking about it, and I was like, I want to see if I can start to write some of my stories. 'Cause I've lived a really interesting life.
Yeah,
So
right.
I wrote 1,500 words down that night, and life has coincidences. And the very next day, a woman I know through the yoga community had posted on Facebook that she was starting a course. She was going to teach a course about writing your first book. And I was
Oh,
like, okay. So 3 months later, I had 50,000 words written. And then I started the process of querying and trying to find a publisher and all this kind of stuff. And so I found a publisher in March or April of 21. And the publisher is called Wise Inc. It's a woman-owned publishing company out of Minneapolis, and they help publish different and interesting stories. So my book is called Break at the Bend, but the subtitle is a woman's transformational journey on a non-traditional path. Because when I wrote this book, I was living in the South. I was single. I'd chosen not to have children that didn't have four legs and barked. And so we started on this process together, and started on the process of like, what do I want from my book, and kind of trying to develop things. And then life happened. So in August of 21, I lost my 17-year-old lab. A week
oh,
later, my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
oh.
2 months after that, I met the man I would fall in love with and eventually marry. In April of 22, we lost my mom. In June of 22, I lost my 16-year-old beagle. So this book that I wrote, all of my stories, all these adventures and failures in relationships and, different things, it took on new iterations. And the iterations
Mm,
were, the impacts that my mother had on these stories, intentionally and unintentionally. And the reason the book is called Break at the Bend is one of those things that I need to do to reset is hike. And
mm.
when you hike, there's switchbacks where the trail goes back and forth. And I was doing a big hike in Peru once, and somebody looked at me, and we were about to hike up to 15,000 feet. We had about 1,500 feet in front of us that we had to do this day.
Wow.
And there was a
Yeah.
ton of, and we looked at each other and we were like, okay, let's just take breaks at the bend, at each bend.
Ah,
And then I started to realize that that's the story of my life. Like I'm traveling down the road and I'm thinking I'm heading in this direction and I'm going in a different one. And my
true.
book followed those iterations. My story followed that in the sense that like it never happened the way I thought it would. I never had a plan, but I feel like the universe did. And I feel like my mother did. And I definitely didn't follow that plan. But it's just where it is. And I think that I think my story is interesting. I mean, I'm biased, but I also think that there's a lot of lessons in it, that the road switches in front of you and so unexpectedly, and you can take a break. You can take a break during that bend for a second, but it's not going to break you. And you're going to figure out what this new direction is supposed to lead you to. So I got laid off in February and I became an entrepreneur in October. I mean, like,
Exactly.
yeah,
It's it is really funny. It's there's I don't know, I can't remember the saying or who said it, but there's something about life is it's not. Oh, I wish I could remember this. It's not what you do, it's how you react or something like that. Like, because how you react to these things, these challenges or tragedies or whatever opportunities, that's the difference. It is never gonna. It's never. I don't think it's ever linear. Maybe it's more linear for some people, but well, come on, like, if you're open and you're open to moving to South America
right.
to hang out for a while or whatever,
I,
like, then you're open to it,
you
and
know,
that creates some adventure, I think, you know?
It does. When I got my yoga certification, I was living in India and I was taking a philosophy class. And my teacher one day, I walked in and on the whiteboard, he had written happiness. And I was like, oh my God, please don't kill happiness. Like it was the first philosophy class I had ever taken. It was fascinating. But I'm gonna summarize this, not to take up all of the airtime. But basically, he said that happiness is fleeting and sadness is fleeting. And so the goal of many people is just to be here, to just to be
Ah,
understanding and apathetic and and we had to write essays every night. And I said, listen, I have faced heartbreak and I have faced grief and I have faced so much joy and I will take it every day of my life and I will be in it knowing it's not going to last.
ah,
So there's moments that you get knocked down and be knocked down, like be sad, be upset, be mad, whatever.
yeah,
You don't have to live the rest of your life that way because you know it's not going to last forever.
yeah,
But for me, I'm like, but I'm living. I'm living and I'm in all of the moments and I'm happy for the people who need the happiness and I'm holding up the ones that need to be held up and I'm crying when I need to cry and
yeah.
that's okay.
I like it. I think it's you didn't have the lows, you wouldn't know what the highs were, and vice versa. And the other thing is just I think being present is important, probably now more so than ever. And maybe it's harder now than ever because of all of our, other distractions that we have. How do you take that into your how do you take that into your like your business? Because I'm assuming like even I think about any kind of business and yeah, there's a lot of event, for instance, there's a lot of corporate event planners, execution people that you could use. So how do you take what you are and bring that into your business?
Um, I used to tell people when I would interview for a new job that I thrive in the thrill of chaos. And that's what events are.
Yeah.
And, when you go to a conference or you go to an event, there's so many things that happen to make sure that your experience there is smooth and what you're expecting. And then there's these people behind the curtain who are literally pulling their hair out and going nuts. And this didn't happen. And this AV room forgot this. And all these things happen. But front facing, you don't know. You have
No.
no idea. And I bring that into work because I think it gives camaraderie with your team. And for my clients, I'm very honest as well. That what we were talking about earlier, like there's nobody to blame for the mistake except for yourself. And I will own that. When I would be a manager of people, I always used to say, take the blame and pass the praise. As an
Yep.
entrepreneur, I got to take the blame. I got to take the blame and I got to take the blame. Like it's just, it is what it is. And if there's things that go wrong, I'm going to walk up and I'm going to say, hey, I made this mistake or this is happening, but I'm not going to have a meltdown in front of the client because I don't want them. I don't think an event is worth having a meltdown over. We're not,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I love what I do. I'm really proud of it. And what I do always has a presentation. There is always somebody who sees what I've built, right?
Yes.
And as event organizers, we always say like there's going to be people that complain that the ice is too cold and the water is too wet. And you say, let me see what I can do about that. And you just keep moving on. And you check that to, hey, we got a new one. And we make laughs about it later, Like,
Yeah. It can look smooth as silk up front, but it's controlled chaos in the back always, right?
it
Like
is. It
it just
is.
always. I don't care how much you planned it. There's something is gonna go. It's like I tell people if you're like they're gonna get married. I'm like, look, okay, here's the deal, dude. I don't care how much you planned it. Something's gonna go wrong. And so like live in the moment, enjoy the ride, enjoy the
Exactly.
wedding. Don't freak out. Like it's not a big
Exactly.
deal. Nobody's gonna care. Life will still go on no matter what happens. So
It's true. I got laid off 6 weeks before I got married, and the Monday before I got married, one of my puppies was real excited one morning, and she slapped me right in the eye and tore my cornea, and I was like, "Okay, guys, we might have to pivot. We're gonna have to pirate-themed wedding." And I'm like, I mean, it's just, I sent a picture of myself to my family with a patch over my eye, and they were like, "Oh my God." And I was like, It's fine. It's fine. It's funny." You know?
it's fine. Pirate themed wedding. That would be different. No, I
Yeah.
haven't seen that before. I'm sure it's
Thankfully, I
been
didn't have
done.
to wear the patch in the wedding, so
Okay, so tell me about just curious, I asked a lot of people these questions. How do you utilize AI now? Where do you see AI affecting kind of your business going forward? Any thoughts on that?
Mm, yeah. She's my best friend, and I've named her Laverne, and she knows that's her name. I think she makes life easier in the sense that s you know, I've been doing this for 23 years. I know what I'm doing, but sometimes words get jumbled, and so I go into ChatGPT and I'm like, "Hey, I gotta make a schedule for registration. I gotta do a rollout. I need to do this, and this is the event that I'm doing." And I love it because it knows me. I've uploaded all of my information. I uploaded my manuscript, I uploaded my
Oh, wow.
my CV, everything. So it knows how to talk like me. And it just, you know, sometimes I'm like, am I using it too much? And the other part of me is like, it's making me more effective, I think,
Uh,
because I know what it's saying and I read it, I check it, and
sure.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I need to tweak this or whatever. I don't just hand it off and say, Laverne wrote this. I mean, I do usually give her credit, but I always make sure that my voice is in there. I don't just go in there and say, I need a registration rollout. Like I give detail. So I think AI is fantastic.
Yeah, and I think it's garbage in, garbage out with AI, and it is going to revolutionize how we do things, some in some good ways and some bad ways. Does it
Yep.
change does it change or have you seen a change in how people gather? Obviously, post-COVID is different, but I don't know how, and where do you see trends going long term for, conferences, events, that kind of thing? More or less
Yeah.
important?
I don't think AI is going to change how people gather. I think it's just going to help us tailor things better to our audiences. And ever since COVID, I mean, I feel like I've been yelling this from the mountaintops. I'm like, we have to speak to our attendees differently because
Mm,
people are now so used to working from home. So it's no
yeah.
longer like, hey, we're the event to go to. It's and here's why you need to be there. And we have to give them different options. You know, people are saying, hey, I can get so much stuff done in a 8 or 9 hour day from home. And I'm not actually doing 9 hours of my day of my 9 to 5, right? And then you want me to leave and go to a conference. And it's saying like this is more. A conference is more than what it used to be. Because a conference from the 70s or 80s, like there's all these parties and
Mm,
it was more of a it was just different. It was just a part of it. And now it's we have to we have to speak a new language to our attendees, especially the Gen Zs, They're asking us to tell them, "Give me a reason to come." And not just because you're in this space, but do I have options? Do you have my wellness included? I have a very restrictive diet. I always nap at 2. I need to have business meetings. There's you like I like to play with puppies. I mean, we are now going outside of the normal box of conferences to appeal to a broader audience of people to come because we're now, it was always like, hey, you're going to come to a conference and you're going to be able to learn things to take home or back to your work and be able to apply it. And now it's like, okay, you can still check in with your work, you can still do these things, but here's some networking and we got a 5K you can
mm,
run and go hold a puppy for a minute and,
mm.
just they're just different. It's immersive and activations and experiential and it's fun and exciting. And that's what I like about taking on new clients because they're seeing that too. They don't
Ah,
want just the plain old same thing we used to do.
yeah, I think the is a really good capture because it's got to be more than you sit in a room and listen to a speaker and then go to a cocktail party and then, you
Mhm.
know, that makes perfect sense. Okay,
Yeah.
in your building of your business, what's one thing that if you could do it over again, you would do differently?
I would not say, yes, I could do that if I can't actually do it.
So you don't subscribe to the thing of just say yes and then figure it out later?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, Warren. I did that and I kind of got shot in the foot over it. I
Got you.
actually lost a client and I told people, I mean, it was a kick in the gut. And I said but it was a learning experience because I said, yes, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. And at the end of the day, I mean, there are some things that I feel like they didn't fulfill, but in my part, it was like I should have said, "Hey, by the way, I'm not a marketer. Like I love to write, but I like to write funny stories about my adventures, not about, this topic." So it's
Yeah.
really, you know, I love learning new things. I love to learn how to do new types of events and conferences and conventions, like adding to the experience that I already have.
Yeah.
But I don't yeah, from the very beginning, just saying yes to all of the things when I just really wanted to grab a client, I gotta humble myself and be like, "Yeah, you might lose the business because you're gonna be honest," and that's what I gotta do.
Yeah. Short term, take a little bit of a loss for a long-term gain and your name
Exactly.
and all those things. That's good. Okay. I've taken enough of your time and asked you 3 quick questions. They're very serious. So here we go. Are you ready?
Oh gosh.
If you're an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
Sea turtle.
Oh, sea turtles. Okay. Why? Give me the why.
I love the idea of just
Yeah.
floating. And also, I can go on land for a little while, but they're just beautiful and majestic, and they've been around since the dark ages, and they see the world from underwater, and I think it's amazing.
And it's amazing. I've been able to swim with a lot of sea turtles and snorkel, et cetera, with them. But we went to this sea turtle rescue down in the Keys, and I had no idea the range of these suckers. They
The
go a
size.
long ways. The range. I mean, they're
Oh,
the
from
miles.
where they say, "Oh, I know, right?"
It's crazy. right?
Yeah.
So that's a good one. I love sea turtles. Huge fan. I have one somewhere here in my office, actually. Probably it's close around here somewhere. Anyway, okay, next question. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, it changes daily, but well, that's a lie. It doesn't really change daily. I think I am who I want to be when I grow up. I just have other aspirations to try some new things along the way. I don't want to ever be stagnant.
Nice. Well, and clearly you've done that in your history. So, I mean, you got
Yeah.
quite an interesting past and I'm sure future as well. So that's awesome. And
Yeah.
last question, what do you want to be remembered for?
For making people laugh.
Nice.
Mhm.
I like it. And
Yeah.
is that going to be, is there stand up in your future again, or what do you think?
I love speaking, so I'd like to continue doing some keynotes, and I can't do a keynote without making some jokes
Yeah,
at my expense sometimes at others, but
it's true. You can't really have a really good engaging talk and teach people something and keep them engaged without a little bit of humor. And if we take ourselves too seriously, we're screwed, right?
yeah, you gotta find something to laugh at every day or we really will be in that place of crying.
Exactly. I love it, Hadley. Well, look, I thoroughly enjoyed our time, and
Me
I
too.
congrats on a really successful business and book.
Thank
And
you.
I think you have another one coming out, another
Not
book. Or
yet. This one just came out. I'm gonna show you. This one just came out in September, so
oh, it did. Okay, this is very recent.
it's very recent. It's my first book, my baby. I do want to write another one in the future, but I'm just trying to get this one off the shelf first.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I wish you the best. Yeah, Break at the Bend. It's called.
It is.
Yeah, sounds like a great
It's
read.
we're
Okay, thank you so much, Hadley. Thoroughly enjoyed our time, and keep the adventure going.
I will. Thanks so much. This was fun.
All right, cheers.
Bye.
You know, the business growth journey is not a linear thing. It's very much zigzag, up and down roller coaster. So as you're zigzagging up the hill, take the time to breathe, enjoy the ride, enjoy the highs, and get through the lows. Cheers.
Liked what you heard? Let's make it real. Schedule your free coaching session today at sugarland.actioncoach.com.